Today we are finding out if an $80 spoiler from Amazon is good enough for the C6 Corvette. Now, don't get me wrong, the C6 Corvette is a beautiful car the way it is. It's got beautiful lines, long sloping hood, aggressive rear end, it's sophisticated, it's sleek, it's stylish, it's timeless, but I've always thought the one thing that was missing is a spoiler. I've never really understood why they did this little stubby insert plastic thing for the third taillight. It really just doesn't make sense. I'm not really sure what the idea behind the design was there. I suppose it was a place to put the third taillight rather than having it in the actual bumper, but if that's the case, why didn't they just do a full-length spoiler and have the third taillight in it? Obviously, there's a bunch of different options out there for the C6 Corvette in terms of rear spoilers. They go from several $100s a piece to below $100 a piece, believe it or not. And in this case, I'm going to be installing a rear spoiler on the C6 that was only 88 bucks. I've established a history on this channel of spending the money so you don't have to. So don't come at me for buying an Amazon rear spoiler. It's all for test purposes. And I guess if it actually turns out nice, then we win all around, right? Saved a little bit of money and still accomplished the task of making the car look more aggressive. Wanted to definitely make sure to get a few before shots of the car here because it's amazing the difference a spoiler makes. So I certainly wanted to see it before, and then we'll get an after comparison. Aside from test purposes, there's another reason I wanted to get the Amazon spoiler first. A couple of reasons, actually. Number one, I think spending $300-400 on a rear spoiler that probably comes from the same place in China doesn't make sense to me. The other thing is that a lot of the aftermarket spoilers, especially the higher dollar ones you see on Extreme Online Store and some other vendors for the C6 Corvette parts, is you have to drill holes in the rear bumper in order to install it. I don't want to do that. Now, I'll point out a couple of things that I don't like about the Amazon spoilers when we start the installation process. And I'd be lying if I said I like everything about the Amazon spoilers, because I don't. But I would much rather tape a spoiler on and remove it if I don't like it than drill holes in the bumper and then want to go a different route down the road. And now I have additional holes that there's no reason to have them there. But I'm excited. This is going to look so good. It's one of the things that the car needed right away, along with side splitters. Those are coming up too. Nice. Looks good right out of the box. Even the underside looks nice. Let's do a little test fit. Not too shabby. Finished really nicely. Nice and black. I will say it's a little bit taller than I was anticipating, actually. Looks great from the rear. Oh, can't wait till you guys see this. The very first thing you gotta do is throw away that two-sided tape that they give you in the package. It's way too skinny and it doesn't adhere very well. Anybody that has ever had any issues with spoilers falling off that aren't actually fastened with screws or bolts, it is probably due to the fact that they use the crappy Chinese two-sided tape that they send with. Get some actual two-sided tape from Walmart or the hardware store, wherever you want to find it, but that is going to be more than enough to secure the rear spoiler to any vehicle, especially if the surface is prepped properly, which we're going to do right now. Another thing I like to do in preparation of installing rear spoilers in particular is leave the vehicle and the spoiler out in the sun, or use a heat gun to warm up the surfaces, because that helps the tape adhere and cure a little bit better and ultimately hold the spoiler on a lot better. If you're doing it in the cold, it's not going to stick. Prep the surface with a little mineral spirits as well. Got to make sure it's nice and cleaned off so the tape adheres properly. And this is actually really glossy, so I might even consider taking like 800 or 1000 grit sandpaper and just roughing it up on the area where I'm going to apply the tape. It just helps it stick a little bit better too. It gives it a little bit more teeth. Mineral spirits again. Generally, I just get the tape started so you don't stick it all the way down. is start it like this so you can pull it once the spoiler is in place. Wipe it down a little bit, then I just use a soft towel just to apply a little bit of pressure to make sure the tape is touching all surfaces. I'm pretty excited about this, actually. Wow, it looks better than I thought. Like I said, there's a lot that I like about the Amazon spoiler, but there are a couple of things that I dislike. First of all, what I really like is that the price point is excellent. This one in particular, and I'll link it in the description below, was $88. So well under $100, shipped to my door in just a couple of days. I will say for that amount of money, the quality seems to be pretty darn good. Everything lined up just about perfectly. I mean, the length is perfect. It fits just at the start of the curve, which is nice. All the surfaces seem to touch where they need to touch so the tape can adhere. There's no crazy gaps. All the gaps are flush and tight to the surface of the rear bumper. But overall, I mean, it fits really well. There's no trash in the finish. Everything is smooth, no weird ripples or anything. Now, obviously, I can't speak to longevity. We'll obviously see how it holds up over time, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. But first impressions, really good. And obviously one of the most important things that I like about this rear spoiler, and I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is the fact that you don't have to drill holes in your bumper. Before I take this car out and get some after installation shots, I do want to point out the one thing about this Amazon spoiler that I don't like, and that is the cutout for the third brake light. That sort of cheapens it a little bit for me. It's not so bad because it's all black, and I think once I actually tint that lens to match the taillights, I think it'll be even less noticeable. And it might be more noticeable on cars of different color, but again, being black, it doesn't really stick out all that much. But, you know, it's one thing that caused me to hesitate a little bit in buying this spoiler. I just wasn't quite sure about it. I do like how the higher dollar, higher quality spoilers have the third brake light built into the spoiler. It's a little bit cleaner look, or at least have a finisher, you know, have it this gap filled. So it's just like an opening rather than a kind of a cutout. That just looks a little bit cheap and lazy, but gotta say overall, pretty pumped about it. This thing looks sick. Let's get it outside so we actually get a good visual. Oof, look at that, golly. I can see the spoiler in the rear mirror now, that is sick. Here we go, it is the moment of truth. So what do I think about the $88 spoiler from Amazon for the C6 from the rear? Look at that thing. God, super aggressive. It's actually a lot higher, a lot more extended than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was a little bit smaller, but some of those pictures online are a little bit deceiving. But it kicks up there quite a bit. It looks pretty sick. Especially from this lower angle, it goes hard. That's pretty solid. This angle is badass for sure. Overall though, guys, I gotta say I'm pretty pumped on how it turned out. It was missing a little bit something in the rear end. This just helps, like I said, kind of add a piece to the puzzle, and we're getting there. Looks sick. Loving how it's looking. Need to get a paint correction. Gotta get those wheels and tires in ASAP. Woo, I'm pumped. It's looking good. What do you guys think of the Amazon spoiler? I think overall fit, overall quality is pretty decent, especially compared to those that are $200, $300, $400. I really can't justify that when something that fits this decent is only $88 on Amazon and you can get it in 2 days. I'll put a link in the description below, guys. If you're interested in this spoiler, make sure you check it out. I don't have any complaints. Just get yourself some good 3M tape. Make sure the surfaces are prepped properly, and you'll be good to go. Sick. Thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate it very much. More stuff coming for the C6 Corvette. More stuff coming for the channel in general, so I hope you stick around. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next one. Man, she looks good.